And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is September 16th, 2025. 14 days till I turn, I don't even know how to say this, 65. Those that know me, I'm pretty much like 21. And I look 35. And I'm in shape, big time. My recommendation to each and every one of you, don't let age get you. And you know what to do. You know, the one thing we can take care of is our body. We can do anything we want with it if we apply ourselves. Just wanted to say that at the outset, because just so you know, I follow this guy. I'll introduce myself in a second. Go get the book by David Goggins. It's just inspirational guy, and time is the one thing we cannot get back. It's also the thing we waste the most of. We give it to the wrong people, we dedicate it to the wrong problems, and we damn sure don't give enough to ourselves. Stop wasting time, stay hard. How about that for a quote? I already did 8 sets of back, 8 sets of tries today. I'll be going to the gym and doing 20 sets of legs, squats, and leg extensions. I ain't screwing around, kids. And you know what I may do? I may do some sort of like Instagram channel or something like that where I'm teaching. I know everything about it. I was discussing that with my wife today. Do I have enough time in the day to do that? And she said she'll help me out. We're going to video the workouts, put it up there. And I just see people in their 30s and 40s just not taking care of themselves. And they're to blame, but you know who else to blame is? Go check out the menus at these restaurants and go look at the calories at some of the crap they serve you. Dang. Go Google how many calories 1 hour of walking burns, and then go look at some of the things they're serving you at some of these restaurants. I got to walk for about 27 hours and 13 minutes. Anyway, just wanted to start with that because I was just thinking I'm 2 weeks away from I'm 65. I'm on Medicare now, which, by the way, is saving me a hell of a lot of money. Yay. My good buddy Mario Bick, you should check him out. Go put up Mario Bick Insurance out of South Florida. He does business throughout the country. Boy, he set me up beautifully with the Medicare, because frankly, I didn't understand half of it. Anyway, I'm Gary Kaltbaum. This is Investor's Edge, serious talk on everything affects you. We'll do the markets, we'll do the economy, we'll do jobs, your industry, everything that affects you. Wait till you hear what the House passed today. No, not your House, but the House of Representatives led by the Republicans. Wait till you hear what they did today, because they don't care about you. Gary, how dare you say that? And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. Also at BizTV YouTube channel. That's BIZTV channel. And by the way, throughout the years, we know the real world. We know what's been going on. A lot of stations that we've been on have turned to ESPN or religious or whatever. If we are not in your city anymore, we post the show at GaryK.com, and we are in the midst of discussions of, how do I put this? We've done this on a shoestring. I feel like we still use Dixie cups and strings. We're going to do some elevation, because we deserve to elevate ourselves, and that's on us. And you know where we've learned that from? Watching everybody else. Good looking studios, good looking lighting, and all that crap. So we've been in discussions, and I think we're gonna do some fast tracking of it. We'll let you know. But the most important part of the equation, if we are not in your city, if a station goes away. GaryK.com. There every day. Biz Talk Radio, YouTube channel, Biz TV, BIZ TV. And that is that. Where do I want to start today? I need some help. I have a question for you very smart realtors out there. You ready? If you go to buy a house and you go into the house and they have these, air fresheners in every room. And I mean, it is stinking up the joint to the point where you got to walk out because your eyes are almost burning. And then you say to the realtor, what is that smell? Why do they have those things in there? And the realtor says to you, I don't smell anything. And you're thinking to yourself, this realtor would be a great politician. Would that be a red flag that they are hiding something like mold or mildew or, I don't know, leaking or water damage? Any realtors out there, please email me. I just like to know what you think. You can go to GaryK.com, email me, or gkaltbaum@kaltbaum.net. I'm interested from you genius realtors out there to hear what you have to say. Should I worry if I was buying a house? Now, I know there's inspectors. You do inspections when you buy a house, but could they miss the mold if there is? I'm a big believer. What's the line? If it looks like crap, smells like crap, feels like crap. Boy, I'm so glad I didn't step in it. You get the point. All right, so just wanted to start with that. That is the realtor part of today. Robert Redford died. Has nothing to do with you and your markets, but I just want to let you know Robert Redford died. Let me tell you that a big-time environmentalist. I never heard him preach like some of these other dolts out there. And just a movie star's movie star, 89 years old. And I believe he did the Sundance thing every year and was in Utah or Colorado or something. Anyway, just wanted to bring that up. Next, I'm just circling. Tomorrow's the central bank, our central bank, that is in meetings today. They're probably around the big table playing paper football. Then they are playing Galaga, Space Invaders, and my favorite, Ms. Pac-Man. By the way, I was a great Ms. Pac-Man player. I was the king of Ms. Pac-Man, and I haven't played in a very long time, and I should. They're going to make a move tomorrow, and I want to explain it to you because we don't believe it gets explained to you very well. So, number one, there is something called the bond market. What that is are governments, companies, municipalities, whatever, they float bonds. That means they are asking you to lend them money in order to do their business. When you're dealing with municipalities, they are tax-free. In other words, the yield will be lower, but tax-free. You don't pay taxes on it. When you buy a government bond, a 1-year, 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year, you pay taxes on that. Same with companies. You pay taxes on it. And the reason why a yield is higher than other yields is because of risk factors. In other words, and they have these rating services, the rating services that let us down in '08. Well, they go out there and say, well, this company is not doing so well. and we're only going to rate it a B, not an A. So their bond is going to go out at 6% versus somebody that would go out at 4%. So to account for the risk, you get 6% on your money versus a company that really doesn't have a lot of risk, 4%. But don't get me wrong, I made a ton of money on Sprint bonds years ago, and they were risky, but I thought, hey, they're going to be bought out eventually. I was getting 6-7% for a long while. So that is the free bond market, and these bonds trade freely. They go up and down in price, not like stocks because they're income, but they'll move up and down. Up next, then we'll take on the Fed. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. Okay, so you got this government bond market, and the yields will move up and down based on price. So if price moves up, yields go down. If price goes down, yields goes up. That's you do get that. I don't think I have to explain that. And why would yields go up? Well, in times of inflation, something like that. Why would yields go down? Recession, weakening of the currency. But what normally happens is yields stay kind of stable. They go up, they go down. But unfortunately, throughout the years, we got these. All right, let me be diplomatic today. Interlopers. People that thought they were God and decided to play God with the free markets under the guise of, oh, it's an emergency. You remember 2008? 2008 was caused by the central bank. It was caused by the central bank because they kept money too easy. And if you keep money too easy, it tends to create bubbles. And housing bubbles, and you know what housing bubbles did? They blew up and things came down. And Ben Bernanke started printing money. Then Janet Yellen came in. I don't even remember what the hell she did because she was comatose. And then you get Jay Powell that came in and printed like crazy because of COVID, and then went to 0% rates, which caused mortgage rates to go to hardly anything. You remember those 3% mortgages? So he interfered with the free market. Let me explain how they interfered. And I'm not making this up. This is really what happened. And amazingly, it was allowed to happen. I want you to think about this. One man had the ability to print out of thin air up to $9 trillion. Well, that's where he stopped. He could have gone further. Now, he didn't print $9 trillion. I think he printed about 5. We were already at 4. He took that money. Now, make sure you understand. It was conjured up money out of thin air. No, really. It was conjured up money out of thin air, and he was allowed to do it? How many times was I doing the show and I would say to you, when did we get to the point where the head of the central bank is the most powerful man on earth that can print up to $9 trillion? And then guess what he did? He took all that money and bought the living hell out of the bond market. And if you buy the living hell out of the bond market with trillions of dollars, what does it do to yields? Well, it took yields down on the long end. What's the long end? Well, 30, 20, 10, 5, 2, 1. He rigged the free market, which caused all the distortions and caused the inflation. How do we know it caused the inflation? Definition of inflation, the outcome, too much money chasing too few hands. But what is he doing tomorrow? He's not doing anything with the free market. He's doing something with something called the Fed funds rates, which has a lot to do with what banks charge to each other, lend to each other, and also has a bunch to do with money markets. So you in the money markets, you're going to get less, as he's going to lower that rate tomorrow from 4.25 down to 4. And there's usually a dash next to it. So it'll be 4.25 dash 4.5 to 4 dash 4.25. He's going to lower it. What does that do for you? Is it going to create a job? Hell no. Is it going to spur on the economy? Hell no. When the president says the economy would be much better if he would lower rates, the president's not telling the truth. Why? Because lowering rates a quarter point or half point is going to do nothing for the economy. That's all. Now, the president's been calling for him to rig the market again. Take it all the way down to 1%. Well, what will that do? Well, the president doesn't know this, but it will create the inflation, big inflation again, and then all hell's going to break loose because the president does not know. He's wrong. So we're just letting you know he's going to affect the short-term rates tomorrow, which, by the way, the stock market has reacted to. And why does the stock market react to the Fed easing monetary policy? Because easy money creates the juices flowing. And the easier the money, the more the juice. And you know what happened when he printed to $9 trillion and kept rates at zero? He ended up with GameStop and AMC and all kinds of crazy. And the inflation. And when the inflation started coming down, when did that start coming down? When he stopped printing. So we're letting you know, in spite of what the president says or anybody else, all he's going to do is going to affect the short-term rates tomorrow. Could juice the market more, but I think some of it's already baked in the cake. And we'll watch the free market. The good news is the 10-year yield has dropped from 4.3 down to almost 4.0. It's 4.02 right now in the last couple of weeks. That's good news. It lowers your mortgages. It lowers the loan rates. It lowers the cost of capital for companies wanting to put out bonds to grow their business. I'm in hopes he doesn't go a half point. I don't think he needs to. I told you if that I was running the central bank, I would have already been 3 3/4 for. So if he wanted to cut a half, that's fine. I would not go any further than that, and here's why. Because the market says so. I am a big believer that the Fed should be a quarter to a half point below the 10-year yield. So maybe he can go 3.5. I don't know if he'd go further than that. And what could be the negative outcome if he goes too far? Again, did you like that inflation? You tell me. How was that inflation? Good for you? Oh, and by the way, do you see what's going on with the food? I saw the Democrats blame Trump on the food inflation. No! It's not Trump's fault. Coffee's going up. Other things are going up. Well, I have to say coffee may be Trump because of the tariffs. But anyway, just want to explain the Fed. I have no clue how the market reacts to it. The market, I believe, has already front-run it to a certain extent. And tomorrow's another day. I hate the fact that this dolt not only runs the central bank, but then he's going to do a press conference afterwards where he turns into Ralph Cramden and goes hummina, 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 hummina. That'll be tomorrow. Yay. Up next, today, the market. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So, remember we said yesterday the VIX, the volatility index, was up and maybe that portends a pullback of some sort? Dow was down 125 today. Whoopee-doo. Weakness in the Dow. Nothing bad. Oh, United Health was down $8. I said yesterday that healthcare kind of really bearish. Most healthcare, and I think they're starting to get those managed care again. That's United Health. Travelers down 4. We mentioned insurance was weak. Microsoft was down 6 today. That didn't help. S&P down measly 8. NASDAQ 14. NASDAQ 100 up down 19. But Tesla up 12, Meta up 14. No harm there whatsoever. Oil prices were up. The yield came down a little bit today. Bitcoin bounced a little bit. Advanced declines were flat, so no biggie. If we get a little pullback here, no big deal. Some China names again strong, and I have to tell you, I wonder if we're at the point where if anybody announces AI, just goes up. So Baidu has been very weak, reports very bad earnings, China name, but they announced an AI chip and the stock has gone vertical. The same with Alibaba that reported a 9% drop in earnings. They announced an AI chip, it's gone vertical. But I'm noticing at the same time NVIDIA a little bit on the weak side. So I'm wondering, I want you to think about this. NVIDIA. 4-point-something trillion dollar market cap, dominates its field. But we're just hearing all kinds of announcements of other AI chips. The biggest trouble in markets comes from when you own the world and you start losing the world. In other words, you have 100% market share, and I'm just using the 100, but it's not 100. And then you start losing it. The market starts reflecting it. So I'm going to be watching that closely because leave no doubt there are others out there that are going after NVIDIA. Right now the stock is trading at the 50-day moving average. Did not act great on its earnings report. It is by no means in any type of bearish phase or bear market, but we're just, I just announced 2 Chinese companies that have their own little AI chip. I'm always trying to think a step ahead. At least I try. What else today stood out? Not much else. Semis were up. The transports bounced a little bit, but the rails and truckers have been yuck. Oil's had a pretty good day. Actually, subtly, notice the big word, and by the way, subtle as SUBTLE. Subtly, oils are getting a little bit on the sneaky side. There really is no leadership. There's a few names that are strong, but not big leadership. But I'm going to be watching them. What else stuck out today? What have we been telling you about initial public offerings? Be careful of the hot opens, right? And all that is taking information from the market at any given point in time and being in recognition of it. So we've been telling you they've been open, these IPOs, too hot, and they've been crushing them. Well, today's Tuesday, so Friday, Gemini Space Station, that's the name, but it's not a space station. You ever hear the Winklevoss twins? These are 2 men that were, they took Mark Zuckerberg to trial for stealing from him when Facebook first came public, and I guess they settled for not a lot, but they got involved with crypto in a big way, and they're billionaires now. God bless them. They started a company that loses crap loads of money. It's one of these digital asset exchanges. All I can tell you is they opened it on Friday. Let's see. Was basically $46 right at the open. It's 28. And is trading at 30 times sales and loses a ton. That is not a rub on the company. It's a rub on the stock and its valuation, and just another initial public offering getting absolute trashed after a hot open. And I have I've put them all on one little screen. I have about 20 names that they opened up ridiculously and have been absolutely trashed. Remember that one Bullish? Somebody had the nerve to name a company Bullish. They opened it. It was a $37 deal. Had it at $132 on day one. $51 today. How about Chime? Chime, $27 IPO, had it at $45. First day. $22.99. So everybody that is in the stock is losing money now. It's at a new yearly low and below the IPO price. Oh, by the way, they lose a crap load of money. Oh, and it's another one of these fintech fee-free mobile banking, like there's no mobile banking companies out there. Again, we are not ripping on them. We're just like telling you the way it is. And I found, what is this other one? Oh, Heartflow. This one's not so bad. We'll leave this one alone. 37 down to 31. That's not that bad. Well, that's about 17%. Anyway, you get my point. But the other point is 10 years from now, some of these are going to be 10 baggers. So we'll keep a darn good watch on them. Some of the greatest stocks 10 years from now will be from IPOs. How about Voyager Tech? $31 deal. First day was at 74. We're not making this up. $74 in June. It's 28 today. Oh, and they lose a ton of money. And it still has a $1.6 billion market cap with about $120 billion in sales. Which not that bad. But point taken, right? And again, when we keep doing this, it is because we take the information on what the market's giving. And you should know by now that they're opening up the initial public offerings too hot and people are getting crushed. And we don't want you to be crushed, so we'll keep telling you about it. How about MNTN? Transform connected TV into next generation marketing channel. And loses a bunch of money. They had that up to 32. It's now 20. What is that? About 35% drop? That's a lot of cake. We don't want you losing cake. I'll finish up with Fig. Because they had that up to 110, 20, 142. It's 53. Figma is that name. And it has a $26 billion market cap with less than $1 billion in sales. Even at this price. Oh, there's going to be some big drops in the next bear market, ladies and gentlemen. You all better be ready when I tell you the market's topped, right? You will be ready, right? And you will remember that the average leading stock will drop 70% in bear markets, right? And you do realize right now nobody is saying bear market's going to happen again, right? We'll let the market decide. Oh, and by the way, the market is just fine right now. Tomorrow will be another day. But GEMI, just another one. By the way, the dollar again was just crumbling today. Our dollar against currencies, and may I state for the record, looks like it's about to break down again at the lows of the last 9 months. Our dollar against other currencies. Huh? And I hear the new guy they put in the Fed loves a weak dollar. Make you feel any better? Up next. Hey, what did the House of Representatives do that pisses me off? This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Hey, all my conservative Republican peeps out there, how you all doing today? You good? My conservative Republican friends, how you all doing? My conservative Republican friends that you and I together loathed the last administration. Loathed Kamala Harris, that could have been the next president, loathed that all she wanted to do was raise taxes on anything that moved. Anything and everything. Tax on this, tax on that, tax on this. You got this New York City joker that's probably going to be the mayor. He wants to tax the rich, those bad rich. Like they're not going to haul ass out of there to West Palm Beach, right? It's amazing. Marxists and communists are the biggest dumbasses on earth, ladies and gentlemen. But I regress, or digress. No, I didn't regress, I digress. Let me read some to you. The House of Representatives, which, by the way, right now is in the power of the Republicans. The power of the Republicans. The Republicans have the power. And they passed a measure today. What it did was it gave tariff authority to President Trump. It prevents the House of Representatives from voting on any bills that would challenge his authority on tariffs. So the president has the authority to tariff anything, anywhere, anytime, ever, any size, any country, any product. The Republican House of Representatives has now given the green light to the President of the United States to tax the living crap out of anything he wants to do, anytime he wants to do it. How do you feel about that, my Republican, conservative, lovers of low-tax friends? Huh? How do you feel that all the pundits are out there praying that the Supreme Court sides with President Trump on the ability to tax anything that moves, like Kamala Harris wanted to do? But this time it's President Trump, so it's okay. It's not okay. And if you are a true conservative without an agenda, ulterior motive, or bias, you are PO'd that this administration has gone on a higher tax festival, proudly praising it, proudly telling you the numbers that they are telling you coming into this country, so they are lying to you. Because it's not coming into the country, it's this country paying those taxes. But they know it's not really affecting you, so what do you care? It's your party, and you're not going to be mad at your party for raising taxes, are you? Why would you care that Apple paid $1.9 billion in taxes because of tariffs? Or Ford, I believe, was $800 million. Or they're touting that they are collecting $20 billion a month. Well, just letting you know, and I would like you to listen carefully. If he keeps the tariffs on, it's going to eventually flow down to you. Currently, companies are doing the best they can to hold the line on raising prices. Now, we have seen some prices raised. You do know that. You've seen the prices being raised. I can all but promise that in the months ahead, if he doesn't remove the 50% on Brazil, well, your coffee is going to keep going up. If he doesn't remove the tariffs, companies are going to just say, screw it. And they're going to be raising the prices on stuff. I don't know which stuff, and I don't know how much. But we're just letting you know the conservative Republican House of Representatives just gave the green light to President President Donald Trump to raise taxes any way he wants, even though it is the House that's supposed to propose taxes, vote on them, give it to the Senate to make changes or keep them and vote on them, and then give them to the president for his signature. Instead, they have given the president executive power, or he has taken that executive power to tax the living hell out of this country. And by the way, this administration has stated they think they can raise $8 trillion in the next 10 years. Well, that would be an $8 trillion tax hike on this country. I would like to know if any candidate for presidency stood up in debate and said, we're going to tax this country $8 trillion over the next 10 years. Would you vote for that person? Just asking. Anyway, that happened today in Washington, D.C. As you know, we do this show. We live our life without agenda, ulterior motive, or bias. We want an administration to go in, keep taxes low, regulations not onerous, get the hell out of the way. We give the president A++++++ on what he did with the border. We were giving him an A+++++ on deportations until they went overboard, but hopefully they are fixing that up. We give them an A+ on crime. I'll give them an A++ on crime now. Washington, D.C., crime is dropped to the ground. We love that. Protect the citizens. But the tax thing, that ain't no hill for a climber. Anyway, you'll have a great evening. Drive carefully. It's Tuesday, right? Got it. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Thanks for joining. Good night, all. Peace out.